in the morning, you gonna
wake up in the morning. I'm talking right now.
You're about to experience a morning show unlike any other.
Shout out to the Breakfast Club. I listen to y'all every morning.
What you guys are doing right now, it's the hub culture.
The Breakfast Club is my morning sip. I need it and I love it so much.
I feel like you really not popping until you do the Breakfast Club.
I've been waiting to come to y'all show, man. I know you gotta be a big time celebrity to be up in here. You gotta be big time.
DJ Envy, Angela Yee, and Charlamagne the God.
The Breakfast Club, bitches.
Wake the fuck up.
Good morning, USA.
Yo 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 yo.
Good morning, Angela Yee.
Good morning, DJ Envy.
Charlamagne the God.
Peace to the planet. It's Monday. Good morning.
Good morning.
How y'all feel out there?
All right, Monday, back to the work week. How was everybody's weekend?
Pretty good. I opened my coffee shop, so that was exciting. I was there all weekend.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's doing pretty well so far. It's been really, really busy. So I'm grateful for that, for everybody that's come out. We're only open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. until after Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a soft opening while we're getting everybody trained properly, getting it all together, seeing what has to be fixed. But it's doing great.
And coffee is a great business. Congratulations. Caffeine is like a legal drug.
Yeah, no, and it's actually really good for you. I always talk about the health benefits of coffee. It helps with diabetes. It helps prevent Parkinson's. It's an appetite suppressant. It gives you energy. It's just when people add all that cream and sugar, that's what makes coffee not so good.
Okay. I never drank coffee, but I'm going to try. I'm going to come to your shop this week.
You said that somebody was looking for you, too.
Yeah, I seen. Thanks for the video.
And we start with oat milk, too, because we don't, you know how a lot of times places upcharge for oat milk, but we give you oat milk off the bat unless you request something else.
Yeah, I'm going to try that. Now, over the weekend, my daughter who acts, she's an actress. She had her play over the weekend, which was pretty cool. So I was by her play, watching her play. I went to a couple of shows just to check her out. I love seeing her be happy. I love seeing her acting. So I was there, and I was also in Indianapolis. Shout to happy birthday to Darianne. I believe that's her name. She turned 50. Her husband threw her a big party in Indianapolis, a private party. It was me, Jazzy, Jeff, and Trey Songz. I ran into Trey. So Trey sends his love to everybody up here.
Hey.
Salute to Trigger.
I was just listening to some Trey Songz earlier over the weekend.
Yeah, he was telling me about the best thing in his life, and the best thing that's ever happened to him is his child. He was so excited, and he was telling me everything about the baby and everything. So Trey, and this was in the club. This was in the middle of the club. Me and Trey was talking about kids, which was so funny. So
that's how you know y'all too old to be in the club. When you're in the club and you talking about your kids, you don't need to be in the club no more. Nah, the statute of limitations on your club appearances has expired. Because you really don't want to be there.
We were both excited to be there, but
I can't tell.
We just haven't seen each other in a long time. So when you see somebody, you catch up, no matter where you at. If you're at the airport or if you're on the street or at a club, we were talking about that. We did that for a little bit, and then we got back to I had the DJ, and he did what he did.
You had to get back to your families.
Now we DJ first, but in the morning we was back. All right, well, let's get the show cracking. Now, we got some special guests joining us today, right?
Dr. Sanjay Gupta is going to be here.
That's right.
I know we always have a lot of questions about COVID, about the vaccine. So we have an expert who's been following this and studying this every single day for the past couple of years.
Yeah, he has a new book called World War C, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll kick it with him in a little bit, all right? Now, front page news, what we talking about?
Well, look, this morning we are going to talk about this bipartisan infrastructure bill throughout the morning, but we also have some other stories as well. Today's a big day as airlines are preparing for a travel surge. We'll tell you about that.
All right, we'll get into all that next. Keep it locked. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. Let's get into some front page news. Now, over the weekend, the Falcons are in football. Falcons beat the Saints. The Browns beat the Bengals. Dolphins beat the Texans. The Chiefs beat the Packers. Titans beat the Rams. The Cardinals beat the 49ers. The Chargers beat the Eagles. Ravens beat the Vikings. Patriots beat the Panthers. Jaguars beat the Bills. My Giants are now in second place. They beat the Raiders 23-16. And Charlamagne, I'm sending you healing energy. The Broncos beat the Cowboys 30-16. They got washed.
We did get washed yesterday.
Washed.
We're still 6-2. And number one on top of the NFC East with a bullet. It's not even close.
Yeah, but no, we're tied for second. We'll be there, sure.
Man, shut up. No, you won't.
Yes, we will. And Monday Night Football, the Steelers take on the Bears. Now, Canelo Alvarez, he won. He beat Plant over the weekend, becomes undisputed super middleweight champion with an 11th round TKO.
Amazing fight, man. Canelo Alvarez just too good, man. Just too good. Plant fought well, but the way he was fighting just wasn't sustainable. He was taking way too much punishment and leaving that left hook open for Canelo all night. And that's ultimately what took him out. But drop one of clues bombs for Canelo Alvarez. Even though he probably can't understand nothing that just came out of my mouth, I still drawn to drop one of clues bombs for him.
All right. Now, what else? Oh, and also, Odell Beckham Jr. was released from the Browns over the weekend, too. Actually, Friday on his birthday. So not sure what team he's going to, but it looks like he wants to go to the Seahawks, but we'll see. All right, what else you got, Easy?
Well, airlines are preparing for international travel surge because they have eased COVID restrictions here in the United States. So everything reopens today to fully vaccinated visitors. And so right now, they're saying they've seen a 450% increase in international point of sale bookings versus the 6 weeks prior to the announcement. That's just for Delta. So they are saying guidelines require non-citizen travelers to provide proof they've been fully vaccinated prior to boarding a flight to the U.S. All passengers, including U.S. citizens, will be required to test negative for COVID within 3 days of a flight's departure as well. All right, now here is what's in the bipartisan infrastructure bill that Congress just passed. It's a $1.2 trillion infrastructure package that got passed on Friday. And this is something that's been in the works for quite some time. Democrats are saying this bill pays for itself through a multitude of measures and without raising taxes. But here is what's in the infrastructure bill.
It's going to create jobs replacing lead water pipes. So every American, every child can drink clean water, improving their health and putting plumbers and pipe fitters to work. How long have we been talking about that? It's a gigantic issue.
Yeah, that should have been a no-brainer for so long. And then there's funding for roads and bridges, money for transit and rail, broadband upgrades, upgrading the airports, the ports, the waterways, electric vehicles, improving power and water systems, environmental remediation. And here is what Biden is saying about how this will all be paid for. That's a lot of money, guys, $1.2 trillion.
And this bill is fiscally responsible. That's a fancy way of saying it's fully paid for. It doesn't raise the deficit by a single penny, and it actually reduces the deficit, according to the leading economists in this country, over the long term. And it's paid for by making sure that the wealthiest Americans, the biggest corporations, begin to pay their fair share. And keep my campaign commitment, it does not raise a single penny in tax for anyone making less than $400,000 a year.
I wonder how many compromises they made to get that done. Because they did leave a lot on the table.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be a $2.25 trillion bill?
Well, they had to leave out money for caregiving for aging and disabled Americans. They were going to spend $400 billion on that. That's left out. Also, his proposal would have expanded access to long-term care services under Medicaid, and that's left out. It also would have improved the wages of home health workers who make about $12 an hour now. Also, $100 billion for workforce development, which would have helped dislocated workers, assist underserved groups, put students on career paths before they graduate high school. Also, money to modernize VA hospitals.
That's horrible, especially being that Veterans Day is this Thursday. Like, how you leave out $18 billion, to modernize the VA hospitals.
Also, corporate tax hikes that Biden wanted to use to pay for the American Jobs Plan. A lot of things have been left out in order to get this passed.
And corporate people said, no. You won't be raising taxes on us.
All right. Well, that is your front page news. We'll talk about this more in the next hour.
All right. Now, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open. Hit us now. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. This is your time to get it off your chest, whether you're mad or blessed.
So you better have the same energy.
We want to hear from you on The Breakfast Club.
Hello, who's this?
What's up, guys? This is Joe, man. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday.
Joe, what up, man? Get it off your chest, brother.
I want to get off my chest these Cowboys, man. I mean, you call these a Super Bowl winning team and you get baked like that? Charlamagne, what you got to say, man?
I know you're not serious, right? You know this is the NFL any given Sunday.
Charlamagne, 2 weeks ago, you had bragged to me like, oh, man, these Super Bowl contenders Cowboys. What's going on?
So because we're 6-2 and lost the game to a 4-4 team.
every year with the Cowboys, y'all win in the beginning and y'all lose in the playoffs.
Can I ask you a
But
question?
anyways,
How many regular season games did the Bucks lose last year?
I think it was like 10 or 12.
No, they didn't. They won the Super Bowl. They wouldn't have made the playoffs without a 10 and 12.
I'm thinking the year before. I was thinking about the year before that. My apologies.
It happens, bro. We'll be fine.
Yes, sir.
Envy, I want to shout out to Trav or somebody who gave me a shout out after I had called.
Oh, last week, yeah.
You don't have the energy that's about your car show anymore. And I want to give, I think it was Trav. Trav, a good shout out, man. Thanks, man, for shouting me out. I try to pick up the good points for you guys.
Trav ain't gonna call this morning, man. We'll just send him healing energy.
Yeah, healing energy. Happy Monday, everybody. God bless and thank you again, man.
Yo, Trav is definitely gonna call. Cowboy fans ain't hiding, bro. We 6-2. What are you talking about?
Hello, who's this?
Yo, this B.O. from Jersey City, man.
I thought that was Trav.
Hey, man, you let Charlamagne slide too quick, man. If Dallas would have won, man, he'd have been talking about that all day. We gonna ride how they got blown out. They got blown out. My Giants did their thing yesterday, baby.
I know you're not sitting there bragging about your Giants. How many games your Giants won this year?
Tell them we in second place, though.
We in number 2.
That's
man,
right.
Shut up.
Number 1, and y'all got blown out.
That's right.
That's
now
fine.
Have a chance.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you have rather taken that blown out yesterday and be 6-2, or do what y'all did yesterday and be 2-6 or 3-5 or whatever the hell y'all are?
Man, it doesn't matter, man.
Yes, it does matter.
A win is a win. There you go. Any given Sunday, a win is a win.
Any given Sunday.
Cowboys lost.
Stop it. We 6-2.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man.
Hello, who's this?
Good morning. It's Mickey calling from Florida. How are y'all doing this morning?
Hey, Nikki, get it off your chest.
So just a couple of things. First of all, Dr. Charlamagne, how about our Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? I mean, we lost yesterday, but it's fine. Any given Sunday, we still 6-2 out here.
Exactly. Just because you won down don't mean nothing.
That's right.
Angela Yee, how are you doing this morning? Congratulations on the coffee shop.
Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well, too.
Listen, I'm just, it's Monday, time change. I'm trying to get in the zone. But I had a couple of questions.
What's up?
Now, with the new infrastructure bill, of course, this means that they pushed aside the Police Reform Act, right?
Oh, yeah, that's not happening.
I just read a story about, what is his name, Jamarion Robinson. Now they're trying to push a case with the federal agents who shot him, and they're saying that the Police Reform Act could have helped them with that, but now they're thinking that they're not going to be able to prosecute their case.
Yeah, the George Floyd policing bill is dead in the water.
Okay,
for now.
So great. Love that. All right, and then the second thing was the Astroworld situation. Angela, I know you're probably going to talk about it in the rumor report, but how do y'all feel about that whole entire situation?
Man, while they're still investigating, I just feel like it's such a tragedy. I feel awful for people who lost their kids and family members. I saw a 14-year-old died, a 16-year-old. Just terrible situation. Yeah. So we'll tell you what information we do have from all different sides.
But I always thought that majority of those festivals, something like that was bound to happen. I mean, it's just because it's so many people.
You're right. Because remember back in the day when MTV was lit, they had the Woodstock. Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit got called out on all that rioting and stuff. And after that, they were like, yeah, no more. We're not doing it. It's too crazy. It's too many people. We are not built for this. So I think it's kind of wild, especially seeing as how this is Travis's second incident with some craziness like this.
Yeah, and the majority of festivals don't have issues like this, so I think they're just going to have to figure out how to make sure this doesn't happen ever again.
You can't blame the artist, though. He was there performing. I don't think you can blame the artist. You know what I mean? I just think they need to, like you just said, they need to figure out how does some festivals work and how some don't. And that's the reason why, and when my kids go to the festival, my kids went to Rolling Loud. For my son, I had somebody go with them, not to necessarily protect him because my son is a huge football strength, but just to guide him in the right way, to see things that he might not see. Like, hey, let's not go in that crowd over there because it can get a little crazy. Come on this side.
I will say though, from what I read, it was really nothing you could do if you was in that crowd. Mm-hmm. They was like people were drowning in people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy enough to think, with shootings and all that other stuff. You just now have to be worried about people just being so amped up, so hyped up, and like being trampled. It's crazy.
Well, condolences, actually.
I just wanted to call in, get that off my chest. Let Charlamagne know the Cowboys be going to the Super Bowl.
We out here, baby.
DJ Envy and Charlamagne, congratulations on the new queens in y'all's lives.
Thank you.
She is getting ready to pop any day now. So
Yep.
DJ Envy, I know I won't be hearing you too soon.
Yeah.
But congratulations, y'all.
Thank
y'all
you.
have a great day. Stay blessed. Just sending positive energy to all of us today.
Right. I like her. I like her.
Get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, hit us up now. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Listen up.
This just in. All the gossip. The Rumor Report. Gossip. With Angela Yee.
It's the Rumor Report.
The Breakfast Club.
All right. Well, this Astro World Festival over the weekend, a lot of details are emerging right now as they are investigating what happened. At least 8 people between the ages of 14 and 27 were killed during a crowd surge at the festival in Houston. It was a group of about 50,000 people in attendance. Hip Hop DX editor-in-chief Trent Clark, who has been to several of Travis Scott's performances, said Travis Scott's whole aesthetic is about rebellion. The shows have a lot of raging. With the death of punk rock, hip hop has indeed adopted and patterned the new generation of mosh pits. It's not uncommon to see a lot of crowding and raging or complete wild behavior at a Travis Scott show.
Salute to my guy Trent, man. Drop on the clues bombs for Trent Clark. My guy.
All right, now the mayor of Houston, Sylvester Turner, said the city had more security at Travis Scott's Astro World Festival on Friday than it did during the World Series, but they are doing a thorough review and investigation into the event. They said we had more security, like I said, than at the World Series, and they did send hundreds of officers to the event in addition to about 250 non-police security. So they said about 50,000 people were compressed toward the stage at around 9:38 p.m. while Travis Scott was performing. And unfortunately, like we said earlier, 8 people did die. The youngest person who was injured was 10 years old. So in total, 17 people were transported to nearby hospitals. 11 experienced cardiac arrest, and more than 300 people were treated at the scene. Now, the Houston Police Chief, Troy Finner, also discussed what happened. And he said he warned Travis Scott about Astro World, about the crowd there prior to the event. He did express concerns about the crowd. And that he said, according to the police chief, he said somebody he knows personally warned Travis Scott also as well. Another thing that he's talking about is Narcan. They had to use Narcan on a security officer at Astroworld. They said that one of the security was actually pricked, and they had to use that because he did end up becoming unconscious. And Narcan is an emergency treatment for opioid overdoses. So we don't know what somebody pricked into that individual's neck. But here is Houston Police Department Chief Troy Finner discussing.
I will tell you, one of the narratives was that some individual was injecting other people with drugs. We do have a report of a security officer, according to the medical staff, that he was reaching over to restrain or grab a citizen, and he felt a prick in his neck. When he was examined, he went unconscious. They administered Narcan. He was revived, and the medical staff did notice a prick.
Right, so they're still investigating that. They don't know what that could have been that was injected into his neck. Now, another man is speaking out, Kyle Greene. He said he became paralyzed at a 2017 Travis Scott concert in New York. He said he was at Terminal 5 and he was reportedly pushed from a third-floor balcony during the performance. And it was a severely crowded event. And so they also are discussing previous incidents that happened with Travis Scott. He did plead guilty to reckless conduct charges following Lollapalooza back in 2015. He encouraged fans to jump the safety barricades. According to authorities, in 2017, he was arrested after authorities accused him of inciting a riot during a concert at the Walmart Arkansas Music Pavilion. A security guard, police, and others reportedly suffered injuries, and as a result, he did plead guilty to disorderly conduct in a plea deal.
He didn't do none of that in this situation, though, right?
Do what?
Any of that stuff that he was previously accused of doing.
Oh, inciting a riot? No. As a matter of fact, he did stop the crowd several times, and he did stop his show to try to get help for people at different times.
So I would have to ask, what's the point of reporting on that? Because it kind of feels like when, somebody gets in trouble with the police and then they start bringing up their past record, like, what's the point of that? No.
Well, they're still investigating, so they're trying to see if there was something more that could have been done. If there's a history of things, maybe security should have been up. Maybe they need to have more provisions. There's lawsuits right now, which we'll get into. But Travis Scott did say this.
I just want to send out prayers to the ones that was lost. We're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. My fans really mean the world to me, and anytime I can make out, anything that's going on, I just stop the show and, help them get the help they need, We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. I love you all.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in this situation. I mean, it's easy to blame the artist, but the artist is not in control of the space. The artist isn't in control of how many people come into this space. It's not the artist's job to regulate overcapacity. I don't know what happened in this situation. I just know something went wrong, and it's a tragedy.
Well, here he is actually stopping the show to help a fan.
Oh, we need somebody to help him. Somebody passed out right here. Hold on, don't touch him. Everybody just back up. Somebody jump in. Come on, security, get in there. Let's get in there.
And like I said, there are several lawsuits going on already. Manuel Souza was the first revealed to be suing Travis Scott and Live Nation. He filed this on Saturday. According to his lawsuit, defendants failed to properly plan and conduct the concert in a safe manner. Instead, they consciously ignored the extreme risks of harm to concertgoers and in some cases actively encouraged and fomented dangerous behaviors. Then there's another lawsuit by 23-year-old attendee Christian Paredes seeking $1 million over allegedly being pushed into the show's general admission metal barrier and suffering permanent bodily injury. So this lawsuit names Travis Scott, Live Nation, as well as Drake and Harris County Sports and Convention Corporation.
Oh, yes.
So there'll be numerous others.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a lot of checks handed out because of this situation. I mean, somebody's definitely liable.
All right. Well, that is your rumor report. We'll have more about this in the next hour.
All right. Now, when we come back, front page news, what we talking about?
Well, let's talk about a mom who they thought on the airline she was trafficking her own biracial daughter.
My goodness. All right, we'll get into that next. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Your mornings will never be the same.
Angela here talking about my friends at the General Insurance. They offer flexible payment plans and the ability to choose your payment date. Plus, they let you choose how you pay, whether that's with cash, card, or check. Call 800-GENERAL or visit thegeneral.com to learn more today. Some restrictions apply.
Hey, morning everybody. It's DJ NV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. Let's get into some front page news. Now, NFL, the Falcons beat the Saints, the Browns beat the Bengals, Dolphins beat the Texans, Chiefs beat the Packers, Titans beat the Rams. My Giants beat the Raiders. We're in second place right now. Jaguars beat the Bills, Patriots beat the Panthers, Ravens beat the Vikings, Chargers beat the Eagles, Cardinals beat the 49ers, and the Broncos washed the Cowboys.
It's amazing how excited y'all get when the Dallas Cowboys lose.
The Cowboys washed.
Well, I just want to point out that the Cowboys have as many wins as the Giants have losses. Okay.
And in Monday Night
We're
Football,
6-2. The Giants are 3-6. Let's keep that on.
We're not talking about the past. We're talking
and y'all
about
not
the
number
present.
2 either. I don't know why you keep saying that. You're number 3 actually behind the Eagles. No, you're not. You're number 3 behind the Eagles. No, you're not. You're number 3.
Number 2.
You're number 3
Monday
behind
Night
the Eagles.
Football, the Steelers play the Bears. Now, what else you got, Easy?
Well, let's talk about a mom, a California woman. She is accusing Southwest Airlines of racial profiling. She was accused of human trafficking. She was traveling with her biracial daughter, her 10-year-old daughter, Mary McCarthy of L.A. So they were flying to Denver after receiving news that McCarthy's brother had suddenly died. They had a brief stop in San Jose. They went on another Southwest flight but realized they couldn't be seated together. So she asked flight attendants if we could be seated together. She said they told us we'd each have to take a middle seat. So with their permission, I asked other passengers if they would kindly move so we could be together, especially as my daughter was grieving, and they did. She said people are nice. When they got to Denver, they were met by police officers on the jetway. She said, I got quite a shock having lost my brother the night before. I thought that someone else in my family had died and the police had been sent to deliver the news. As for my daughter, she was terribly frightened. She was already experiencing the trauma of her uncle's death, and she is scared of police due to constant headlines about how police treat black people. She's black. She began to sob and was inconsolable. So, yes, terrible situation that they would do that. Imagine that happens to you. You're traveling with your child and you get accused of human trafficking. So she accuses them now of racial profiling. She's got an attorney and she wants the airline to be held fully accountable.
I've been on the plane with my oldest daughter. This was a few years ago, and they asked me, is that your daughter? I'm like, I hope so.
They said had this been a white child, there would not have been a raised eyebrow, according to McCarthy's attorney.
Really?
Now, on the flip side, a missing teenager from North Carolina was rescued by Kentucky police. She signaled for help, and you know how she learned how to do that? She used a hand gesture known on TikTok that represents violence at home, according to police. So the 16-year-old was from Asheville, North Carolina. She was reported missing by her parents on Tuesday. And on Thursday, a motorist called 911. They saw a girl in distress in a vehicle. The complainant was behind the vehicle, noticed a female passenger making the hand gesture that are known on TikTok to represent violence at home. I need help, domestic violence. So it's a one-handed sign somebody can use when they're in distress.
Oh, so TikTok teaching people things. Huh?
Absolutely. And the 16-year-old learned that. All right, now Pfizer announced Friday that their COVID-19 antiviral pill, when administered in conjunction with a widely used HIV drug, cut the risk of hospitalization or death by 89% in patients who have COVID. So the preliminary results from the trial were so positive that they did recommend the study be halted so the drug can be offered to the general public sooner. So they're saying they're going to submit this data to make it as soon as possible to seek emergency authorization for the pill.
You say you got to mix it with an HIV drug?
Mm-hmm. With a widely used HIV drug.
What if I don't have HIV? Does it matter?
Well, this is to help you if you already have COVID. So it'll cut your risk of death and your risk of hospitalization by 89%.
But what if I don't have HIV? Can I still take the HIV medication?
Mm-hmm. A lot of these medications end up helping you with other things, too. It might be made for one thing, but it also, when used with Pfizer's COVID-19 pill, can actually help you.
That sounds like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that is your front page news.
The Giants are definitely in third place. Okay? Yeah, don't get quiet now.
That's all you heard? She's talking about something serious, and now you want to go back to the Giants?
The Giants need some type of medication. All right? They're in third place.
We're tied for second.
No, you're not.
Tied for second.
No, you're not. I'm looking at the standings.
You guys,
right
they just wrapped
now.
me up. Y'all need to wrap
Us and the
up.
Eagles have the same record. But anyway, when we come back, Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
He's not your son.
Sanjay Gupta will be joining us. We'll talk to him when we come back. He has a new book called World War C. So we'll talk to him next. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Power 105.1. The Breakfast Club. Your mornings will never be the same.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building. We have Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. What an honor.
How are you?
A book called World War C.
What made you do that, sir?
Well, you know, I've been following this pandemic for the last almost 2 years now, and just fully immersed in this and realized that there are so many lessons that we've learned, obviously about the virus and the vaccines, but I think a lot about human behavior.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I always sort of thought that if something like this were to happen, the world would come together, kind of like if there was an alien invasion one day.
That's what we need. Oh, that'll humble the world.
An alien invasion.
That's what we need.
Because that would bring the entire world together.
You can't politicize
you never
that.
Know. Some people might think it's a conspiracy theory and not believe it.
Not when you see it.
Aliens.
But you can't politicize it. You know what I mean?
I don't know, Charlamagne. I feel like maybe you can politicize anything nowadays.
Absolutely.
Depends what color they are. If they red or blue, you'd be like, oh, that's a Republican alien.
Black Asian.
Because you would think a pandemic would bring people
right.
together.
I mean, the virus was kind of like an alien. It was something that we'd never seen before. It affected all humans. So why wouldn't all humans come together? And we didn't. You asked the question why I write the book, because 750,000 people have died.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 3 teenagers, and I don't want them to think that's normal. We could have prevented it, but we didn't prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's lessons to be learned here.
Can I say something? And I know I hear this a lot. You look so much bigger on TV. Like I'm amazed.
That's good, right?
You're like fun size. I didn't realize.
Oh, gosh. This is a weird
Doesn't he look big on TV?
Now, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, I'm so glad you're here because I keep on saying we need an expert in the room to discuss certain things. So they just recently approved the vaccine for children aged 5 to 11. Charlamagne and Envy are both saying they don't want their kids to get vaccinated.
Absolutely not. And I'll tell you
why not?
Because of the fact that the media pushed the fact that kids didn't need the vaccine, or kids couldn't catch COVID, and kids are, you know, their immune systems can fight COVID, and they don't get as sick as adults. Like, it was never a thing for kids for a year and a half. And yet the problem with the media, you start at one chapter and tell us one thing, but then you just turn all the way to the end of the book and say, now you got to get your kids vaccinated 5 to 11. You're like, well, what happened?
No, Doc, I look at it differently. I look at it like there's some things you give adults and some things you give kids, right? And you don't give it to kids because their bodies are still growing.
Yep.
And in my opinion, has this been tested enough to give to kids to see that we have long-lasting effects? I don't know. Adults is a little different. I'm already grown, but for my kids that are still growing, I don't know.
what about measles vaccine? Would you
That's
give
been
it?
tested for years. How many years
Well,
has that
but
been
in the
tested?
beginning, it was given.
I wasn't here.
No, I know, but people have been receiving this vaccine since it was approved for decades now. Chickenpox vaccine, 25 years. I mean, in order to have long-term studies on something, you'd have to wait long-term. So you have a vaccine. Would you wait 20 years before you'd start giving it to people?
If it's not killing kids like that, like they say, then yes. The same thing with baby powder. People put baby powder in their neck, thought it was fine for years, and then all of a sudden it gives cancer.
Well, see, here's the
See
thing,
what I'm
though.
saying? It's-
Like, how many deaths are you willing to accept? I mean, 700, close to 800 kids have died of this. Is that a lot?
700 kids?
Listen,
Yeah.
this time last year.
Compared to 750,000 people that died?
Well, if you compare it that way, but let's put it this way: chickenpox. We really needed a chickenpox vaccine. That was a huge scientific endeavor. How many kids do you think were dying of chickenpox before the vaccine?
I agree, but this time last year, the media was literally saying the mortality rate for COVID on kids was very low,
It is
so
low.
don't worry about it.
No, I don't think they were saying don't worry
Y'all
about it. They were saying-
absolutely were.
No, it was much worse for older
Adults,
people,
right.
much worse for the elderly, much worse for people with pre-existing conditions.
Mm-hmm.
That's true, but can't both things be true at the same time?
Yes, but can't y'all also? I mean, sadly, you got to hold people's hand in this generation,
Yeah, you
right?
do.
So it's like you can't go from low mortality rate to kids that don't worry about it to hey, everybody got to
But
get
then
their
I
kids
also feel
vaccinated.
like kids weren't in school last year at this time.
Right.
A lot of schools were closed, and now they are, and it's spreading a lot more amongst kids, and they're bringing it home to their families and people who might have conditions.
That is another reason I think that it could be of great benefit is that you could potentially help really bring this pandemic to a close because kids can spread this.
Why didn't y'all do a better job for the past year and a half letting us know not only was it adults and people with bad immune systems, but kids too. And as soon as the vaccine is ready for kids, y'all need to go get your kids vaccinated.
Yeah, I think I can understand what you're saying, that the idea that it was really presented as a problem mostly for adults, which is the case. I mean, adults, especially elderly people over the age of 65, were the most at risk, and that is still the case. So my kids are vaccinated. Now my kids are a little bit older; they're teenagers now, but I immediately thought to myself, boy, I really hope they don't get sick. The chances are much lower, but would I be able to justify the fact that they got sick even though a vaccine was available and I chose not to vaccinate them? I guess the real question ends up being, Charlamagne, what risk are you willing to tolerate? Let me put it this way. You tell people something, you have a 99.5% chance of surviving this. That means 1 in 200 kids will die. Okay, are you willing to take that risk? 1 in 200?
But listen, I mean, we do this and we throw that around, but like secondhand smoke kills more people a year than 800. Are you out here telling people they need to ban cigarettes?
Well, they kind of have banned it in a lot of states.
I'm just asking.
that would
Ban
not
the
be a
sale of
bad idea.
cigarettes?
I mean, I'm not advocating for cigarettes.
It's just like
but I'm just-
it's like y'all raise the terror threat on certain things when you want to.
But you said, but we don't know the side effects of what happens to these kids after they take this, vaccine for years, and
Or if they get
and that's
COVID.
the scary part. But then you also said,
There's a lot of
it's
long-term.
it's passing around. But just because my kid gets the vaccine doesn't mean he can't get it and pass it around.
Right. So I think that's a good point. So the question you're really raising is, got COVID on one side, you got the vaccine on the other.
Correct.
They both may have risks.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which risk do you think is higher? Which one are you willing to take? We don't know the long-term impacts of COVID.
Or the vaccine. And I'm
yeah.
not anti-vax at all. I'm just saying you're taking a risk either way.
Right, but I think you have to decide which is the bigger risk here.
You don't know.
In the
We don't
context of, I think we know.
Why doesn't anybody talk about the fact that this time last year, Democrats were the main people telling folks not to take the vaccine? Like, when will liberal media own up to the fact they are responsible for a lot of people being skeptical?
Well, you're right about this. There is always politics involved with things, but it's not always the same politics. I mean, before the pandemic, you may remember there were measles outbreaks that were happening. And if you go back and you say, okay, look, who was it that was not vaccinating at that time? It wasn't conservatives as much as it was liberals. It was young liberal parents that were not vaccinating their children. So there's always a politicalization of things. So it's agnostic, I think, to say, hey, look, it's always these people who are anti-science or anti-vax or whatever. That can change, but it doesn't make it right.
The worst thing that happened with this pandemic happened during a presidential election year, because they did politicize it. You had now Vice President Kamala Harris, President Joe Biden, then Governor Cuomo. literally saying who's going to take this vaccine. Don't trust the CDC and the FDA. Somebody else is going to have to tell us to take this vaccine. And those clips now still get played over and over and over and over.
I know. It's tough, Charlamagne. I mean, I feel like sometimes pushing a boulder uphill. I think there's scientists who have been working on these vaccines for a long time. I mean, I can tell you that, when it comes to these side effects, which you rightly raise, what are the long-term effects? What they find is that if there are side effects from vaccines, they almost always occur within the first 7 weeks of receiving a vaccine. Almost always.
You said side effects happen in the first 7 weeks.
Yeah, so that's why when you look at these safety studies, they basically say, hey, look, we want to follow these patients in the trials for at least 2 months, because we know that the vast majority of side effects occur within the first 42 days, first 7 weeks.
Okay.
So that's when you now say, okay, we feel comfortable with the safety data to say we didn't see significant side effects after that. We are willing to go ahead and authorize that. That's what happened last year, by the way. You may remember this back and forth that was going on where the president said, go ahead and just get this thing out there. This was in October of last year, early November of last year, right before the election. And the FDA came back and said, hey, look, this is how we've done things forever. We're going to wait for the safety data. We're not going to rush that part of things. And that I think was a great decision by the FDA. People said, hey, the FDA is now politicizing this. They're waiting too long. They're not going to authorize this until after the election. Well, the issue was that the safety data wasn't coming back until after the election. By the way, we've had some 6 billion of these shots now given out around the world. 6 billion. I mean, what else has data like that around the world? 6 billion things. Statin drugs.
So if there was adverse side effects, y'all would know by now.
Yes, that's the thing. And they were finding things that were really, really rare. Like I'm talking 1 in 100,000, 1 in a million sort of things. They were
like
finding.
Like the Johnson & Johnson.
Correct. That was the big thing, the blood clots. I thought that was an example of how the system should work. They halted the trial for Johnson & Johnson. They said, let's figure this out. And then once they realized that the trials could continue, they went on.
All right, we have more with Dr. Sanjay Gupta when we come back. It's Jay, Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We're still kicking it with Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Charlamagne?
So you can't look at people and be like, oh my God, why aren't you getting your kids vaccinated when, we're just getting this new information and we've been getting another different information for a year and a half.
I hear you, man. I really do. And I guess for me, it's just one of these things because I've been so immersed in it. I've known children who've gotten sick. And I've known children who didn't get that sick, but even months later still have symptoms. And when I say symptoms, I'm talking about teenagers who have to take 3 or 4 hour naps every day, these COVID naps that they call them. They still complain of brain fog. They still have no taste. They have headaches all the time. These were perfectly healthy kids that didn't even get that sick. And again, I think to myself, if that is largely preventable, and I'm not going to say vaccines are 100% effective. That's another discussion. But they're so effective that why wouldn't I do this?
I think sometimes, and it's no fault to you. It's just a human flaw. When you're immersed in something, you just assume everybody else knows what you know.
Well, I'm on TV, talking about this all the time as well, and I realize not everyone is watching this stuff, and also people, after a while, it gets depressing to hear about a pandemic every day. They call it empathy fatigue. If I tell you the story of one person with this one particular problem, and I tell you their entire life, and I tell you their story, you probably are to watch that story and have a lot of compassion for that person. But if I tell you that same story 10 times,
that's right.
It's not like you have 10 times the amount of compassion. You actually have the same amount of compassion divided 10 times. It's the same thing about the aliens again. Why didn't we all come together here? In the beginning, there was a study that came out and said, hey, if everyone just wore a mask when you go outside in public, if you do that, you could be part of a movement that could save 40,000 lives. That was a study that came out sometime in the fall of last year.
But you're skipping a step, Doc. Prior to that, Dr. Fauci said you didn't have to wear a mask.
He said wear 2 masks.
That's why do we play these games like we don't act like the people that we're listening to who are the experts, like yourself, like the Dr. Fauci's, didn't put out misinformation at some point.
Well, there is a expectation that science is always going to be absolutely certain from the beginning. They think science is going to be like math, that 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4. Here's the deal. And again, I think the nuance of this is important. But the difference with this virus is that we realized that people could spread this virus even if they had no symptoms themselves. That's unusual. And when that became clear in spring of last year, then it became clear that people should wear masks. But I think that when it comes to scientific certainty, if that's what you're demanding, you're probably never going to have that.
So why fire people? Like, for instance, right? You were a healthcare worker. You were working when there was no PPE. You guys were out there.
Yeah.
No vaccine.
No vaccine.
Yeah.
No
Y'all were
nothing, right?
essential.
Yes.
You were appraised. We did parades. We bought you pizza. We did all of that.
You bought me pizza.
Well, some hospitals.
I didn't get any
Your
pizza.
college.
We sent food. We sent food to hospitals. So now when it comes to it, so now some of these healthcare workers don't want to take the vaccine.
Yeah.
So now we fire them, the same ones that were our heroes and working with no vaccine, and when nobody was there, they were there.
Mandates they're tough. I mean, there's
What do
no
you feel
question
about those mandates?
Well, I think that if you're a healthcare worker and you're taking care of the most vulnerable people, and you could potentially be a source of transmission, I think that's a problem.
But do you fire them? Do you put them into another division? Do you just put them on secretary?
That's a good question. Maybe
they
they could be in a position where they're not directly taking care of patients. Like, look, put it this way: what if your loved one was in the hospital, and as a result of somebody not being vaccinated in the hospital, your loved one who's already sick, already vulnerable, now gets COVID because a healthcare worker transmitted it to them? Could you justify that?
I mean, do we? I mean, it's kind of like here.
Maybe
To be
not
fair,
fire them.
You had to get to get checked before you came up in this building.
Yeah, you could do
and
testing.
You could still test negative and have it.
You could still test negative and have it. And by the way,
But somebody who's vaccinated could have it as well and still test negative and still have it.
But that gets back to the idea of risk. That's true, but you're far less likely, DJ, to have it, to get it, to transmit it if you've been vaccinated. If you're demanding 100% protection with anything probably in life, you're not going to get it. But does that mean you don't try at all?
Yeah, what if a healthcare worker was like, I don't want to wear gloves or a mask because I don't feel like that really does anything?
Right.
But vaccination is way different than gloves and a mask. Some people feel differently about it because we haven't been given the 100% facts. Everything changes. And you can understand why people are a little wary because we don't know. Every week something changes.
We are all going through something that is truly unprecedented together.
No, you're right.
This virus is new. So the idea that we didn't know exactly how to handle it in the beginning shouldn't really surprise anybody.
Doctor, if more people would have said that early on, even the experts, I guarantee you'd be seeing a different response from the American public. Like, yo, we don't know what this is.
But I feel like
I think that's a good lesson.
I'm serious.
But don't you
it's a
feel
really
like
good lesson.
experts also didn't know because I'm sure you were getting new evidence and then realizing different things?
I think absolutely. You know, and I think one of the big ones was this idea that this virus would spread asymptomatically, these silent carriers of the virus.
What about the variants? How much has that changed the course?
That changed things a lot because we thought in many ways going into the summer of last year that the numbers were going to go down and they were going to stay down. Typically, you know, viruses don't spread as well when it gets hotter and more humid outside. But then Delta, and all of a sudden things started happening again. Numbers started going up. That would have been very hard to predict, and we may have another variant. I will tell you this, and again, you guys are right to say, hey, look, be skeptical of things, but we're following a lot of these variants now. They are named for the letters of the Greek alphabet. So Delta, we're going all the way down to Mu, and seeing, are there other variants that are of concern? And the good news is right now, it doesn't seem like there's ones that are going to be as contagious as Delta has been. But that might be new information again.
Is it man-made? Was this made? Or
I don't think so. I think the vast majority of these pathogens jump from animals to humans. That's what we've seen, 70-80% of the time.
I mean, but when you see something kind of escape from a laboratory and the disease is named after the laboratory it escaped from, I mean, it's kind of hard to say it's not.
It's not named after the. What do you mean?
Isn't it the Wuhan respiratory?
It's called COVID, yeah. But
the
it's
Wuhan respiratory laboratory.
Wuhan Institute of Virology. I did a whole documentary about this, and I think again, we should ask questions about this. It is very suspicious that the very place where this virus originated is also the home of a big institute of virology. I don't think that changes the fact that most of these viruses typically jump from animals to humans. The question has been, had they already found this virus and they were studying it in the lab and then it escaped, leaked from the lab, as you say? I think that's still something that people think is a possibility. The real concern here is that we really don't have any vision on what really happened in China. The World Health Organization went into China. They did this study, and they weren't even allowed inside the lab. Mm-hmm. There was a database of these coronaviruses that was taken down in September of 2019, just a couple months before we really started to hear about this coronavirus. Where did that database go? Why have we never seen it? Were there lab workers who got sick? Have we been able to investigate what happened to them? And the answer to all those questions is no. And I think that it's kind of like dealing with my teenage kids. They're not telling me the truth on something. Does that mean they're guilty of everything? I don't know. I mean, I think it
means they're hiding something.
They're hiding
both teenagers
something.
Once. we know they're hiding something.
They're hiding something, but I don't know that I'm ready to say that they're guilty of everything.
Got you.
But I think it's important because if we're serious about preventing this from happening again, which I think we can do, by the way, that's the most inspiring thing I learned over the last 2 years, is that what happened over the last 2 years does not need to happen again. We have it within our capabilities to essentially make our world pandemic proof, and we need to do that. We're growing our population. We're increasingly living with these pathogens. We're encroaching on their habitat. These viruses, they've been here longer than us. And as our population expands and we get into their habitat, these jumps from animals to humans are going to happen more and more. But that doesn't mean it has to turn into a devastating pandemic like we just saw.
All right, we have more with Dr. Sanjay Gupta when we come back. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We're still kicking it with Dr. Sanjay Gupta. Charlamagne?
What would y'all do differently next time? Because I remember President Obama saying that we weren't ready for a pandemic if it was to happen.
Well, but at the same time, Charlamagne, the United States was ranked number 1 in the world in terms of preparedness against pandemics. And despite that, we're 4% of the world's population. We had 25% of the world's cases. So we blew it in this regard. There's lots of things that we could do different, but the one thing that I would say that I came to the conclusion of is that I think we almost have to treat this more like we treat Department of Defense rather than we treat weather. Like, I think when we think about viruses, we think, oh, this is like a hurricane. Nothing you can do about it. Just shelter in place, let the hurricane pass, and then survey the damage afterward. It doesn't have to be that way. With defense, we basically say, okay, we're spending a ton of money on defense every year for potential threats. And those threats may never come, and people will say, well, you wasted a lot of money. Well, no, we didn't waste money because we had the peace of mind that we're constantly looking for these threats. I think we have to treat potential pandemics the same way. What does that do? It makes us very proactive. We're finding those jumps as soon as they happen. We're working on universal vaccines. We're funding all the laboratory work. But also, we don't have to litigate every decision afterwards. Should kids get the vaccine? Should we wear masks? These things just go into place automatically because they're now part of how we do things as a country.
Do you think masks are here to stay?
I don't think they're here to stay, but I think they may come and go, like we see in other countries around the world. Other countries, when you go into a respiratory virus season where there's a lot of viruses transmitting, especially in the winter months, people are more likely to wear masks. And if we did that, it would help with this particular pandemic, but it would also help with things like flu. This gets back to the same thing about the compassion. Like, what are we willing to tolerate? I think that's what this is going to come down to.
Tough question in America.
60,000 people die of flu every year. We don't have to have 60,000 people die of flu.
Yeah, we don't have to have all these people die of cigarettes. We don't have to have all these people die of poverty. We don't have to have all these people die of police brutality. Like, America's, that's a tough question to ask America. What are we willing to tolerate? Clearly a lot.
It's a sad state of affairs,
Very
man.
sad.
I'm an optimistic guy.
I'm black.
I may be...
I would love to have that optimism. I listen to Sounds of Blackness for optimism.
I hear you. Does that get better, Charlamagne?
I don't know. It was until over the past 4 or 5 years. I really think disinformation is going to really be the death of us in a lot of ways. I really think social media is that dangerous because of situations like this. Because when there are matters of life or death, this pandemic was,
what is the objective? Like, is it just to create chaos? Is it just to sow doubt? Like, if I go online and I say new car, I'm searching for a new car, and I get a bunch of Ford ads, I kind of get that. They're trying to sell me a Ford. But why do people, what's the purpose of just creating chaos?
Well, let me ask you.
Well, some people are contrarians, and they like to be contrary to things, and they don't trust government. And
what about people who aren't, though? What about political pundits on CNN? And you got a lot of backlash because, you admitted that CNN was wrong for labeling ivermectin as horse dewormer.
Well, look, again, this is one of those nuanced sort of things. And I think the situation there, and I think a lot of people know this, is that there was this belief that ivermectin was a medication that could treat COVID. There was no evidence to support that. But all of a sudden, there were a lot of people out there wanting ivermectin. Their doctors were not prescribing it for them because it was not approved or authorized for that. So what did people do? They went and received the veterinary formulations of this. So that's why it got labeled a horse dewormer. That wasn't made up out of whole cloth.
So why did you say they were wrong? Because there is another form of...
I didn't say they were wrong. What I said... So I was talking to Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
In Joe's case, he got the prescription from a doctor. So he wasn't taking the veterinary form of the medication. The human form of the medication is a well-known medication and is very good at treating parasites. But just like we saw with hydroxychloroquine early on, there was no evidence that hydroxychloroquine worked. It took time to prove that, and seeing the same thing with ivermectin.
How close are we to finding a cure or maybe some type of treatment you can take once you do get COVID? Because I've heard there's several things on the market that they've been testing that look promising.
Yeah, just a couple hours ago, Pfizer just announced another a potential therapeutic, something that you would take if you got COVID to reduce the likelihood that you would get sick. So this is different than a vaccine, again, which is still preferable because I do believe that it's best not to get the virus and the infection in the first place. But there's two things now out there. Pfizer just announced this today, and Merck has something as well.
It's available for people?
Yeah, Merck's pill or something, right?
Merck's already out. The Pfizer one has, the data just came out today. They're going to be, FDA's reviewing it, and they say maybe by the end of the year.
So what's the Merck pill? What is the Merck pill that they've been saying?
It's called molnupiravir. It's an antiviral.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we think about antibiotics a lot, and that's for bacterial infections. There aren't as many antivirals for viral infections.
With all the money that we spend in all this research, whether it's HIV and AIDS or it's cancer or some of the other diseases and viruses that we don't have cures from, that doesn't seem strange. It seems like we have the smartest scientists. We have the best technology.
I hear you, but I got to tell you, just as somebody who is a doctor myself.
Because most people would be like, the reason there really is one, but the money's in the treatment.
But I look at it differently because, like HIV/AIDS, we've been trying to get a vaccine for 40 years. I mean, the fastest that a vaccine's ever been developed is 4 years. So the fact that they got a vaccine as quickly as they did, some people say, well, they rushed it. That's obviously a bad vaccine. Other people will say, well, man, that was our moonshot. We didn't think, it could happen.
Like moonshine. Sound like
all right, well,
look, up real quick.
Look, Charlamagne,
I mean, stuff like that does make people skeptical. Though.
Does it make you skeptical, or does it make it something we're celebrating too? Can't we celebrate
it should
things?
be, right? Because it's advances in science, so it should be faster. I agree. So Trump and Operation Warp Speed should get a lot of credit.
They should. And look, I did a whole documentary. I think the developers of these mRNA vaccines may receive a Nobel Prize for this. Some of these scientists have been working on this for decades. People say, well, this is rushed. Well, actually, the technology behind messenger RNA, mRNA vaccines, it's been worked on for a long time.
So how much credit should Trump get for Operation Warp Speed?
I think he should get a lot of credit.
He got a lot of flack.
Well, I think
a lot of pushback.
The flack, I think, a little bit came from the fact that why didn't he embrace the vaccine? It was worth
he
celebrating.
he tried to name it after himself. Remember?
Did he do that? I remember that.
Hell yeah.
But he didn't take. I mean, he didn't publicly take it. I should say he eventually took the vaccine. I don't know. I
thought he was trying to take all the credit. I must have missed that because I thought he wanted to put his name on it. He was
part of it. I think if you've done this,
he was trying to get it out before the election. You said that early in the interview.
That's the thing. There was all these sort of conflicting messages. We did it, we got it, and it was great. Now let's get it out there. But then it became, like everything else, so politicized.
Yeah.
Name one thing that did not get politicized: masks, vaccines,
everything.
These therapeutics you're talking about, DJ, they'll get politicized.
Mm-hmm.
They already are. Hey, why would you take that instead of the vaccine? Ivermectin. Everything gets. I can't think of one thing that did not get politicized in this entire pandemic, and it's heartbreaking in a way.
I agree.
So how would you tell people to handle this holiday season?
I don't know if you're going to like it.
No, tell us.
I think the vaccine. There are people who are going to be getting together with their loved ones, which I think is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to this myself with my kids and my parents. They're going to be indoors because the weather's cooler around most of the country. They're going to be snuggling in close. It's the holidays, and watching movies together on the couch, whatever you do. And the idea that you can feel the most comfortable that someone around you is not potentially going to transmit the virus to somebody who's vulnerable, I think is really important. And I think the vaccine is our best bet at doing that.
When the kids start getting it this week?
5 to 11-year-olds can start getting it now.
So 7 weeks from now, I'll start.
That's right.
I'll wait.
That's exactly right. So now and then 3 weeks, is the next shot, and then you'd be considered vaccinated 2 weeks after that. So potentially 5 weeks from now, you could be considered vaccinated.
Well, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, we appreciate you.
That was a great conversation.
I know you got to run, but thank you so much.
What a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
This is the Rumor Report with Angela Yee on the Breakfast Club.
So listen up.
Well, congratulations to Nori and DJ EFN Drink Champs. The episode with Kanye West made history for Revolt. So, according to the Chief Brand Officer of Combs Enterprises, Dion Graham, Revolt's long-term partnership with Drink Champs is a perfect example that we are more powerful together when we use our platforms to control our narrative and give the voices shaping our culture the freedom to create unapologetically. And Nori said, yeah, they say in interview of the year, yay. They also calling me Nori Yega. The Yala get to the Yandi. Yala to many views to count. I'ma stay home and drink water. Praise God.
Dropping a clues bomb for Drink Champs.
Shout out to Nori.
3 million views and counting.
Love it.
Yeah, #1 on the Apple Music podcast charts too, man. Go check that out on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network.
All right, now some responses to that interview have been coming in all weekend. So let's start with Soulja Boy responding. Now, as you recall, Soulja Boy was not happy to be left off of Kanye's Donda album. And when he was on with Academics, he had him read some of the messages that Kanye sent to him.
Draco returned it finished at 5:30 the next day.
Okay.
Which means like less than 24 hours. This is Ye gassing it now. Yo, this yo, Kanye pushed so much A and Z's and E's. I feel you.
You feel me, bro?
Like, yo, you know when somebody gassing you?
Man.
Yo, this crazy.
Well, it was a different story when Kanye was on Drink Champs. Here's what he said about leaving Soulja Boy off the album.
With Soulja Boy is top 5 most influential.
It's like take him off your album.
You ain't hear that verse?
No. He was apparently mad at you. The verse wasn't good?
Nah, but I tell you what though, Soulja Boy is the future though.
That's why you have to send Kanye healing energy. Kanye is a true Gemini. Kanye will say that, behind the scenes, the Soulja Boy, but then publicly say something else.
All right. Well, Soulja Boy has responded to what Kanye said on Drink Champs in Soulja Boy fashion.
Say that was crazy. You not finna baby me with some motherfucking Soulja Boy is the future. Shut the up, nigga. You talking? You said my verse wasn't hard, nigga. Everything that come out my motherfucking mouth is hard. What the is you talking about, Kanye West? Your album was trash. Just cause it's your album don't mean you get to pick what the is hard and what. Put it out and let the people decide what the is hard.
Remember when he's like, who cut your hair?
Man, forget that. I know you isolated that for me, Dan. You know what I need from that part.
We know what you need. All right.
That was a wild.
In addition to that, Big Sean, well, there's a lot of responses here. Let's talk about Just Blaze first. Now, Kanye was on Drink Champs, and he called Just Blaze a copycat.
Swiss Beats or Just Blaze?
Well, Swiss Beats definitely because Just Blaze is a copycat. He get credit for the blueprint, and I did the first half of the blueprint, and he just copied my half and look where I'm at today. Look where he at today.
That's the most egregious thing he said in that whole
That's
interview.
hate.
Like Just Blaze sounds like nobody.
Not at all.
Well, if you recall, Just Blaze did respond on social media. He said he was addressing it publicly because it was stated publicly. And he goes on to say that Kanye did reach out to collaborate on various projects, including a collaborative project that he was looking for me to handle a good amount of. You know who else responded? Jay-Z. He was doing a live Twitter chat to discuss How Hard They Fall, and here's what he had to say on that chat.
The Just Blaze thing was a bit unfair because if you're making an album and the assignment is soul samples, everyone's coming with soul. You're trying to make a cohesive piece of music. I don't think anyone was copying off any, Bink has this problem and, the baby was the blueprint. And I think everyone should be prized for what we created.
My guy Kaz asked that question too. Drop on the clues bombs from my man Kaz.
In addition, Beanie Siegel is saying that Kanye promised him some money. Now, when Kanye was on Drink Champs, he did say he owes Beanie Siegel money.
I still owe Beanie money, and I've been trying to give him this money for a minute.
He gonna get the money, man.
He gonna get the money.
He gonna watch it.
Yeah, because
really, how you owe him money though? I don't understand.
Because he made up the name Yeezy.
Well, here's what Beanie Siegel had to say about that.
I just got a phone call from a mother the other day. He said, see, I owe you $50 million and 5% stock in Yeezy. And I don't know if niggas know, Yeezy's at $1.7 billion. Niggas got a $50 million check for it.
Wow.
So cut the check. I don't
$50
want
million and 5% stock in Yeezy.
I don't want to hear the lip
for
service from
inventing the name.
Kanye. I want to hear him actually cut the check for Beanie. Because now it's public now. Like that can be used in the court of law, right?
Well, he said he owes him money. He didn't say the amount.
He didn't say how much. I'm not talking about the amount, but the fact that he did say
he said he owes him money.
Beanie Siegel created this name,
Yep.
so that can be used in the court of law. Run that man his money.
But it just doesn't say what amount he'll owe.
He'll give him,
That's
correct.
the only thing. All right, well, that is your rumor reports.
Can I hear the Soulja Boy thing one time, though?
Everything that come out my motherfucking mouth is hard.
That's all you care about?
Man, drop one of Clues bombs for Soulja Boy, man. Soulja is so damn entertaining.
That's all you care about, huh?
This whole thing
That's
we
all he was
discussed.
cared about.
And by the way,
What else is there to care about? This
the
is a bunch of
podcast
noise.
is now at 6 million and counting for Revolt.
Yes.
That's huge.
Yeah, Nori
so
just
shout
said
out
6
to
million.
Nori.
Shout out to Nori.
N.O.
Nori be listening. I don't know how he does it.
Nori up. Shout out to
The
Nori.
iHeartRadio app, headphones.
I'm just saying he's always listening. I don't know how he's up.
Nah, he does his run in the
all
morning. He does his run in the morning. He does his jog in the morning. He has his
Nori,
own.
we're going to do the marathon together, man. The marathon was in New York City this weekend. We got to start training now.
All right. Who you giving that donkey to, Charlamagne?
Man, we hear stories about police officers torturing people in jail cells, but this is by far, this is one of the worst I've ever heard, man.
All right.
We'll talk about it for after the hour. The Oklahoma officers from the Oklahoma County Jail need to come to the front of the congregation. We like to have a word with them.
All right. We'll get to that next. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Your mornings will never be the same.
Novartis created the More Than Just Words initiative to raise awareness about racial disparities in breast cancer care. To learn more about what More Than Just Words hopes to accomplish and hear a talk with Grammy-nominated R&B artist Jasmine Sullivan, visit morethanjustwords.us.
It's time for Donkey of the Day.
Donkeys of the day, ask Charlamagne.
I'm a Democrat, so being Donkey of the Day is a little bit of a mixed one.
So like a donkey. Hee-haw. Okay.
Donkey of the Day.
The Breakfast Club, bitches.
Now, I've been called a lot in my 23 years, but Donkey of the Day is a new one.
Yes, Donkey of the Day for Monday, November 8th goes to officers at the Oklahoma County Jail. The officers' names are Sheriff Tommy Johnson III. Who else is named in this lawsuit? The Board of County Commissioners, the Jail Trust, and 2 former jail officers. Now, they are being sued because they're being accused of failing to adequately train and supervise its officers. Now, these officers have a history of mistreatment, well known to supervisors, but no actions were taken to stop them. Now, inmates at the jail in Oklahoma say they were subjected to cruel and inhumane punishment. A federal civil rights lawsuit alleges excessive force, describing the discipline tactics as torture events. It's hard to even talk about. Look, it's no secret. We've seen people, especially black people and brown people, people of color tortured in these jail cells. I think of what happened to Jamal Sutherland in the Charleston County Jail. I think about Daggett County Jails in Utah some years ago and how the Utah Department of Corrections settled lawsuits with former prisoners because one of the former guards, Joshua Cox, according to lawsuits, required prisoners to submit to being shocked and bitten by attack dogs in order to keep their jobs working outside the prison fences. Sometimes they would abuse inmates if they simply wanted to return to their cells. Cops would taunt the prisoners, calling them the B word and the P word. They would wrestle with them and choke them out. Just inhumane conditions all across the board. And the same thing is happening at the Oklahoma County Jail. In fact, what these inmates at the Oklahoma County Jail had to endure, no human should have to endure. If you're easily triggered, take a deep breath. Don't let the trauma these inmates experience sit in your body too long. Another deep breath through the nose. Inhale out the mouth. And let's go to KFOR NBC4 for the report, please.
3 former inmates have filed a federal lawsuit saying they were forced to listen to Baby Shark at the Oklahoma County Jail. You know the song, do, Civil Rights Liars. Filed the lawsuit this week against the Oklahoma County Commissioners, Sheriff Tommy Johnson, the Jail Trust, and 2 former jailers. Attorneys described the discipline tactics as torture. A criminal investigation last year determined 4 inmates were subjected to the Baby Shark song in an attorney visitation room in November and December.
These officers forced an inmate in particular named Joseph Mitchell into a standing stress position for 3 to 4 hours while handcuffed behind his back and then played Baby Shark on loop. Made him listen to the song over and over while physically restrained in the attorney visitation room. These people are evil, man. Cruel is not a strong enough word to describe what these folks have done. I realized this morning that I have PTSD because of Baby Shark. See, Baby Shark tortures parents when we willingly let our kids listen to it. At some point, you have to turn it off. Do you know how much I heard my second oldest, who's now 6, lean into that damn machine? What's that machine? You said Google. What's that thing called? The Google Play. That's what it's called.
Alexa?
No, it wasn't Alexa. I don't know. They just lean into it and say, Google, play Baby Shark. Okay? Like, oh. And me being prepared to listen to it, I already knew it was going to be stressful. So imagine being forced. There is nothing more terrifying than hearing this as a parent. Listen, play it. Oh, stop. Just listening to that dun, 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 dun. You just knew it was about to be coming. And listening to it over and over and over again. Red, let it ride one time for the one time. Oh.
Baby.
Okay. Just one time. Just slap at first, man. When you first hear it, do slap. Slap it first. Do slap. Shark, top part. Shark. Daddy, shark. Daddy, shark.
All right, now.
Nope.
Now it's getting
family ain't getting no smaller.
Oh, man.
Now imagine being a house of 6. We a house of 6 now.
All right.
So everybody got to get a turn.
Oh, my goodness.
Mama shark, daddy shark, oldest daughter shark, second daughter shark, third daughter shark. Now it's the 4th daughter shark.
Oh, my goodness.
See? Big ass family.
All right. You can stop it. You can stop it.
Nope.
Stop it.
No. How long has it been, Red? How long has it been? How long has it been? It hasn't even been a minute, 30 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
So imagine 3 to 4 hours of this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. See? Oh, my God.
All right.
See? Is this not cruel and unusual punishment? Please give these officers at the Oklahoma County Jail the biggest hee-haw. Oh, man.
Goodness.
Jesus Christ. 3 to 4 hours?
They did that in A Clockwork Orange. Did you see that movie?
I don't even know what that
Beethoven? Yep. That was kind of the rehab they did to him in A Clockwork Orange.
Goodness. What, made him listen to Baby Shark?
They made him listen to Beethoven over and over and over again. So whenever he was, you got to see it. He ended up.
That and Let It Go.
It's definitely torture.
Your kids don't listen to Let It Go?
Not no more.
Oh, my gosh.
But Let It Go ain't one of them songs that you're going to play over and over and over.
No, my kids play it over and over and over. They got the little Let It Go karaoke pocketbook thing where they sing into it. Oh, my gosh. I might have threw that out the window one day. Oh, my God. Let it go.
Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let it.
You don't sing that. You just doesn't sound right when you sing it.
I do sing it. I have no choice. I know it by heart.
All right.
Jesus.
All right. Where you want to go from here?
I have no idea. Whatever you do, just let it go.
What?
Okay.
Everything that come out my motherfucking mouth is hard.
All right.
That's the greatest line of all time.
All right. Well, it's Monday. Let's slander the Breakfast Club. I hate you guys.
Everything that comes out of my mouth is hard.
Let it go. 800-585-1051. Let's slander the Breakfast Club. All right. We haven't done this in a while. Open up the phone lines. All right. Something that you don't like about me, Yee, or Charlamagne. 800-585-1051.
Right. The 1 hour loop of Baby Shark on YouTube has been viewed over 127 million times. Y'all just trying to keep y'all kids occupied.
Absolutely.
I know what that is.
You put the kids in a little playpen. You just turn it on.
That is.
And just,
Lord have mercy.
Give me a little 30-minute nap. Just give me a little 30-minute nap. We've been there before. All right. Slam to the Breakfast Club is next. 800-585-1051. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
The Breakfast Club. Keep the Breakfast Club humble with Slander the Breakfast Club.
Hello, who's this?
What's good, Breakfast Club? My name is James. I'm from Indianapolis.
Hey,
Peace,
good morning,
James.
Talk to us.
Gotta slander y'all, man. You and Charlamagne, the bunk bed brothers.
Why you slandering us?
What grown man gives another grown man a mole of their ass for a present?
That's so old, bro.
I don't get it, and then you playing with it. Y'all got to come out that closet, man.
I think you just upset because everything that comes out of my mouth is hard. That's what I think you upset about.
That means you didn't do your job.
Nah, brother.
Nah, brother. Nah, brother.
All right, well, you
Said,
have a great
nah,
one, man.
brother. Don't let it out your mouth.
Hello, who's this?
Hard.
It's Angry Uncle Willie.
Uncle Willie, what up? Go ahead, brother. Slender the Breakfast Club.
What's going on? Good morning. Good morning from the 757.
Good morning.
Virginia, VA, what's happening?
What's going on? Envy.
Yes, sir.
Nobody knows you out here. What are you talking about, the real late shoot?
What are you talking about?
No one knows you.
I know. I'm trying to get myself known out in Hampton, Virginia, where I went to school for 4.5 years, 5 years. I'm trying. Hello, who's this?
Hi, DJ Andy.
Good morning, Slander the Breakfast Club.
Okay, so I want to talk about how ugly you are, how I don't like Charlamagne because he is stinky. I'm just joking, y'all. I had to say this in order to get to me. I wanted to really say happy birthday to my little girl.
You lied.
All love. What's her name?
I love you guys.
What's her name?
Tanaya Samuel.
Happy born day, Sanaya Sanders. I'm sitting there like I know this grown woman ain't calling up here with these whack-ass third-grade insults. You ugly and you stinky.
She like, no, but I do got to give a birthday shot, and then you forgot to say her name.
No, I did. I said her name is Sanaya.
Okay, good. You got it.
Thank you, mama. Hello, who's this?
Yo, it's OT.
What's up, man? Got Slander the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I want to slander Angela Yee for that rumor report of Kanye West. That soundbite, man, there was no positive soundbites to that rumor report, and I was very inspired by that interview. I was kind of confused. You only played negative soundbites.
Well, we just played the responses from the celebrities and people that he was talking about. But he did say those things in the interview, correct?
Yeah, but he also talks about stocks, ownership, not owning braids. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I felt like y'all singled on the celebrity gossip.
You got a point.
It's
you
the
ain't
rumor
wrong.
report. I mean, it is about gossip.
He's not wrong, though, but that's just the way the news is. Like, you know, they always used to say back in the day, if it bleeds, it leads. And, like, you know, even with social media, the algorithms that, you know, move the most are the negative ones, sadly. But he's not wrong. You're not wrong.
I feel you. I got you. When I saw that interview, I was super inspired. But I feel you. I know what y'all saying. It's about the numbers. So
But the beanie part wasn't negative. Like, you know, the fact that Beanie Siegel created the word Jeezy and that he owed Beanie some money, I don't think that was negative.
That was definitely positive. But majority was negative, though. It was the John Legend, the Big Sean. So it's about the celebrity gossip mainly. But the Beanie one was definitely good.
But also, too, Kanye knows that if you get in an interview and you give a lot of those sound bites where you getting that Talib Kweli, you getting that Big Sean, you getting that John Legend, whoever you getting that, that's gonna eclipse all the positive stuff you may have said.
Well, have a good one, man. Slander the Breakfast Club, 800-585-1051. Slander the Breakfast Club, call us now. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Keep the Breakfast Club humble with Slander the Breakfast Club.
Hello, who's this?
Man, Evie, I don't appreciate something, man. You need to give out the sauce on your fake beard, man, because us beard strugglers, man, they do something that's tacky. They tell us to do, you know, all the extra things that on Angela Yee's podcast, man, but it just ain't working. You know, and you know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean. Mine is natural, brother.
What you mean? Why you think it's a secret? Just go to the paint store, get you some black paint and a brush, and dip it in the can, and just slap it all over your face. What's wrong, King?
Why you lying to that man? Hello, who's this?
Hi, this is Khadijah calling from Detroit. What's up?
What up, though? Khadijah, guys, Slander the Breakfast Club.
Hey, I gotta go for Charlamagne. Charlamagne, I love you. You know, like you have a gentle place in my heart because you're just as real as they come. But I need you to get your eyebrows together, sir.
Everybody says I got amazing eyebrows.
To the Dominican homie up there.
Like they flaky, trust. They real flaky. They probably too flaky. So just come to Detroit and we gonna get you together.
Well, he did microblading.
He did microblading before.
I've never done that. What am I supposed to do with him though?
I mean, like they like I got thick eyebrows, so I love a thick eyebrow, but they just This is too much. It's too much.
I'm not touching my eyebrows.
You got your eyebrows done before, bro.
I'm not touching my
You got
eyebrows.
them done before, and I can tell.
I have not got them done in my adult life.
You got
Not his adult life.
When
We're gonna get together. It's okay. We love you.
Yeah, when I was a kid, some women gassed me up to get my eyebrows arched because they was like, Tupac got his eyebrows arched, and so I got mine arched.
Yeah, don't let them gas you up no more.
But they did them thin too. Like I had the thin looking crazy as hell.
I don't.
You definitely had thin eyebrows. Hello, who's this?
Hi, this is Tanisha from Westchester.
Hey, good morning. Slander the Breakfast Club.
I want to slander Angela Yee. Not really slander her, but I just want to let her know, like, I am comfortable with talking about sex, and I would love to come on her show because there's so much more in reference to sex that she can talk about on her show.
Like what do you want to talk about?
The LGBTQ community, the lifestyle community. I even DM'd you like some of the videos that I've done on another show to show you that I would love to come on and give you my perspective about the whole lifestyle community and whatnot.
Okay. That's the plan. You know, we welcome everybody on the show to talk about whatever when it comes to sex.
Okay, I'm very excited. I would love to come on. I think I would be a great addition, the personality and everything. And just to enlighten people about a lot more anyway.
Okay.
Well, hold on, okay? Let's get your number. Hello, who's this?
This is Camille, a.k.a. Mrs. Coco Bass.
Hey, Mrs. Coco, why you upset?
I am upset because Charlamagne done messed up my whole vibe this morning. I woke up listening to Erykah Badu, and here he go wanting to play Baby Shark. We got kids out here. You don't think we listen to that enough?
I know, but I was trying to prove a point because these officers in Oklahoma were torturing the inmates by playing that song over and over. That's all.
You said you want to hear it again?
You ain't have to play that song. You did not have to play that.
You want to hear it again?
Hey, what Badu record?
No.
What Badu record did you listen to this morning? I can tell you the one I use to set my intention, but what's yours?
I listen to Didn't You Know every morning.
I love that too. You know what else I love? I love The Healer.
Oh yeah.
Off the New America album.
Oh yeah.
Okay, baby. Now you better go now if I let that Baby Shark rip. Let it rip, Red. Go play it.
Oh my God, you do the most.
All right, mama. Slander the Breakfast Club, 800-585-1051. Now we got rumors on the way?
Yes, and let's talk daytime TV, who is taking over this week for Wendy Williams, and we'll talk about somebody else who has a show in the works, allegedly.
All right, we'll get into that next. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
It's about time. What's going on?
Rumor report. This is the Rumor Report.
Talk to him.
With Angela Yee on the Breakfast Club.
All right. Well, Wendy Williams is still on hiatus, according to a statement. It's because of her Graves' disease and her thyroid condition. And so she does need some more time before she can return. In the meantime, Michael Rappaport is going to be serving as a guest host for part of the week this week, and then Bill Bellamy will be taking over. So I saw some people were going in and saying they want Sherry Shepherd back. And they really enjoyed her. So I saw people on Instagram, we want Sherry hosting until Wendy's return. Bring back Sherry. We want Sherry. Wendy producers do better, so on and so forth. But again, Michael Rappaport starts today.
Sherry's always good, though. Sherry hosted it before, I think, the first time when she went on hiatus.
Yes.
Sherry's dope.
So people love seeing her on there. Who knows?
And she got daytime experience from The View, right?
And Jennifer Hudson is in talks to get a syndicated daytime talk show, and they're saying this could premiere in the fall of 2022. So that could be exciting. And the Ellen DeGeneres show is wrapping at the end of its current season. We're looking for new things. So potentially Jennifer Hudson could be coming into the mix.
Okay.
And seeing her syndicated. All right, and speaking of TV, Master P has a series coming that's going to be showcasing his life. That is in the works right now. According to the release, the story of Master P is not the typical rags to riches rapper story. Percy Robert Miller was not a dealer or an addict or a gangbanger. What Percy learned from the streets was the hustle, making him an uber-savvy entrepreneur with an empire worth $800 million. This series follows Percy as he pursues a pro basketball career to escape the hood, to blowing out his knee and reinventing himself, founding No Limit, and becoming Master P, one of the biggest hip-hop artists of all time. So I think that's an interesting show to watch. Master P, a series on his life.
Come on.
I'm here for it. All right, and Will Smith is detailing the biggest regret that he had while raising his son, Jaden. You know his book is coming out tomorrow, and so he talks about his film, After Earth. So it details his co-starring experience with Jaden Smith. Jaden was only 15 years old. He had also starred in the remake of Karate Kid, which was a success, and The Pursuit of Happiness. But the budget for After Earth was $130 million. The film only made $27 million during the opening weekend.
Yeesh.
And according to Will Smith, the critiques of fans and the press was vicious, and there was a public mauling of his son. In his book, he wrote, After Earth was an abysmal box office and critical failure, and what was worse was that Jaden took the hit. Fans and the press were absolutely vicious. They said and printed things about Jaden that I refused to repeat. Jaden had faithfully done everything that I'd instructed him to do, and I had coached him into the worst public mauling he'd ever experienced. Then he found out that his son wanted to be emancipated at 15. Jaden had felt betrayed. He lost trust in his dad. He said that the pain, he said, we never discussed it, but I know he felt betrayed. He felt misled. He lost his trust in my leadership. At 15 years old, when Jaden asked about being an emancipated minor, my heart shattered. He ultimately decided against it, but it sucks to feel like you've hurt your kids.
Number one, I can't wait to read Will's book. I'm actually pausing on reading anything until that book comes out. I ordered it last week. It should be here today. But secondly, I wonder how Jaden feels about that now, because failure is just a part of life.
I don't even remember that movie.
I remember After Earth, but I'm just saying, like failure is just a part of life. You're going to throw some things against the wall sometimes, and they're not going to stick. So I wonder, now that he's older, does he understand that a
I'm
little
sure
more?
he understands that now, but at that age, you just
15.
get attacked.
And then everything else had been successful. You're not used to that, so I'm sure it wasn't easy. All right, now let's talk about Lakeith Stanfield. He said he has anxiety stemming from The Harder They Fall and from filming that. He posted on Instagram that he had crippling anxiety and drank every night after work while filming for that. And so he had spoken in the past about having difficulties with his roles and dealing with anxiety. So have y'all seen The Harder They Fall yet? It's really, really good. Gosh, I watched it twice already.
I'm going to watch it this week.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not going to lie. It's an amazing movie. So I highly suggest everybody watch that.
I'm sending Lakeith Stanfield healing energy, too. I hope I saw him say he's talking to a therapist, so.
All right, now Howard University Dean and former actress Felicia Rashad. People were upset about this video that had surfaced. Now they're interviewing both Felicia Rashad, who is the Dean of the College of Fine Arts, and her sister Debbie Allen. And Debbie Allen, by the way, is a former Howard graduate. And they're talking about the students basically protesting because they want better housing, a cleaner environment. And here is what was said.
We know what the Howard student body means. In any country, when the students don't speak out, the nation is not doing well.
When the students do speak out and the concerns have been addressed and it's still not enough, what about that?
Oh, well, that's a whole nother thing.
That's what's going on now.
So are the concerns being addressed?
Okay, let's come inside.
Last question. What will you be telling the president today? Say what? What will you be telling them?
Now, she said the concerns were addressed?
Yeah, she's saying that is what happened. That's what Felicia Rashad said. Mm-hmm. And then she told the reporter, when the reporter asked, so the concerns are being addressed, she said, I wouldn't get into that if I were you. So people were upset, and they said that it was disappointing that she's not on the side of the kids being able to express themselves and get some answers on why there's mold, why there's rodents scurrying around, about the leakages and the conditions in the dorms.
I mean, they should understand that because they were former students, so they wouldn't have wanted to live in those conditions.
And she's the dean there. You got to represent for the students, too. They're the ones everybody works for, right? They're the ones paying the tuition. All right, well, that is your rumor report.
All right. We invited him, the president of Howard, up. I haven't heard anything back, but I'd love to have him and the students up here to talk about it. Hopefully, we can get to some kind of resolution.
Has he spoken to the students yet?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I know when Hampton was going through that, the president at the time, I spoke to him, and we tried to get the students in between, and they got things right. So, all right. Well, shout out to Revolt. We'll see you tomorrow. Everybody else, the People's Choice Mix is up next. Let's go.
The Breakfast Club. Your mornings will never be the same.
Warner Brother Pictures presents King Richard, based on a true story that will inspire the world. Watch Will Smith's portrayal of Richard Williams, father of two of the greatest sports legends, Venus, Serena, and A Plan for Greatness. In theaters and on HBO Max. King Richard, November 19th, rated PG-13. Everybody, it's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests joining us this morning. We have Jody Lewis and attorney Daryl K. Washington. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, this case in particular was horrifying to hear. As a woman I would love for you to just break down what happened with Mia Marcano. We discussed this on the Breakfast Club, and now we want to get some of the particulars from you as working for the family as the publicist and as the attorney.
Well, I can tell you this has probably been one of the most horrifying stories that and cases that I've had to deal with. To receive a telephone call from the family, especially the mother and father, telling me that they're searching for their daughter and not getting any type of feedback from the law enforcement officials. You know, when you look at this case, this is just what you call the perfect storm. The family had all the information that would have given the law enforcement agencies the information needed in order to arrest the suspect, but they were just totally ignored. Just to see the mother and father come face to face with the suspect, the person who took their daughter's life, was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to experience. But the one thing that really sticks out with me is the sheriff's deputy told the witnesses when they were explaining to him who was the suspect in this case. The sheriff deputy said that this case was not a high priority. And as you know, every second matters with this case, with these type of cases. Mia was found 7 to 8 days later, and the question still remains, when was Mia killed? How was she killed? And when was she actually killed? So we're still trying to get answers to these questions. We have not gotten the cause of death. We have not gotten the time of death. They're still trying to get this to the family. So as you can imagine, the family is still dealing with the trauma of all of this.
So she lived in this apartment complex, right? Just to start from the beginning. And did she worked in the apartment complex as well?
She did.
Right.
Yes. And this is how she met this guy. So as you know, being a co-employee with someone, everybody changed phone numbers just to be friendly with each other. But this guy was sort of obsessed with Mia. I mean, he started with the long text messages telling her how he wanted to date her, offering her money. And these were things that she just totally rejected. She had no interest in this guy at all. She told her friends, she told her families, as well as her employer. But sadly, the employer did not do anything to protect Mia in this type of situation.
And he also had access to her apartment, correct?
That's correct. And that is the thing that should have never happened. When you just do a general search of this guy's background, you see so many hits that come up. This guy had full possession of the master key fob that allowed him unfettered access, not only in Mia's apartment, but all the tenants' apartments. And just to tell you a little bit about the Arden Villas, this apartment complex is about 5 minutes away from the University of Central Florida. So the majority of the tenants at that apartment complex are college students. So it becomes the perfect background for a predator like Armando, who took Mia's life.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this was just horrifying for us to hear. And I saw that Mia's roommate also spoke out and had her own account of what the relationship was.
Yes, Mia's roommate, and I tell you, she really gave the family an idea of exactly what happened. If you look at the press release that was released by the Orange County Sheriff Office, as well as the press conference that Sheriff Mina gave, he clearly came out in defense of his sheriff's deputy. He stated on a number of occasions that the sheriff's deputy didn't see anything at that apartment that would have led him to believe that the apartment was a crime scene. And that totally conflicted what the witnesses gave this sheriff deputy on the morning that they were talking to him. Number one, the first thing that should have been a sign that there was a major problem, there was a dresser that was propped against the door that did not allow anyone to enter into Mia's room. That alone should have told the sheriff's deputy, coupled with the complaints that he was getting from the family, that we need to get people out here immediately to investigate what is going on. This sheriff's deputy was very cavalier with the entire situation. He didn't dust the windows for fingerprints. He didn't collect any evidence. There was a security guard that was out there that told the sheriff deputy that, listen, you need to dust this window to see if there are fingerprints. he didn't do this, but here, Angela, is one of the worst situations that could have possibly happened. Now, remember, this guy had the key fob to get in Mia's apartment. All the manager had to do was come to the apartment complex when she was contacted, use the technology that they had from this key fob, and they could have told the sheriff's deputy immediately who went into this apartment. This manager failed to come out to the apartment to assist with the search for Mia. And sadly today, no one from that apartment complex have reached out to the family to offer their condolences. So it just shows you that we're dealing with an apartment complex that places profits over safety.
Now, when we talk about Armando Caballero, right, he's the man who killed Mia and then killed himself. So he did have a background record.
He did. Not only did he have a criminal background record, but he had a history at other apartment complexes. We've received so many telephone calls about this guy. The last apartment that he was working at prior to going to the Arden Villas, this guy had actually taken a weight and thrown into the door of a young lady's apartment trying to get in. He was actually in someone's apartment when the lady got out of the shower.
What?
And he was there, and they all complained about this guy, and management, instead of management do something about it, management blamed the tenants. This guy would then disappear from that apartment complex and end up at the Arden Villas. So that alone tells us that there was no type of reference check conducted on this guy. It was not an extensive background check, as they claim was conducted. And the sad thing about this is a death that was totally preventable. And to see a family have to deal with the loss of a 19-year-old daughter, this is just something that they would never, ever be able to get out of their heads.
Since the guy's committed suicide, what does justice look like for this family?
Justice for this family is holding this apartment complex responsible, is holding the police responsible, not just for them, but they're so concerned about everybody else. You know, one of the reasons that they wanted to start the foundation, and even talking with lawmakers about changing the laws, is there's no quote unquote justice for them because they lost their baby, their princess. But they are fighting now to make sure that this doesn't happen to other families. And, days, after this, they found their daughter, unfortunately deceased, they were already talking about how can we stop this from happening to anyone else. And they already acknowledged that because they're so well connected, they kept saying Jody, gosh, what do the families that do not have the connections that we have actually go through? If we didn't have access to media friends, we didn't have access to retired police officers to help guide us, if we didn't have access to Attorney Washington, and others, what would those families do in this situation? So this family right now, justice is going to be about changing laws, holding people accountable, ensuring that their daughter's name is never forgotten, working on what we deemed Mia's law in the state of Florida. And so that's kind of what justice is going to look like for this family right now.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We want to make sure that we, also publicize this story as much as possible so it doesn't go under the radar, and we keep our foot on their necks too to make sure that there is some type of accountability to the fullest. Yeah,
if I could just say this, and I apologize, man, this is such a serious problem that we have in our community. So many young girls are missing today, and they don't get the same attention that a lot of these cases get. So we can imagine what a lot of families are gone through. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to highlight this case.
Thank you, Jody.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Attorney Darryl.
Anytime. And Jody, please keep me updated.
All right. Well, thank you, Attorney Darryl Washington and Jody Lewis. Now, Charlamagne, you got a positive note?
Yes, I got a positive note of the day, but first I want to tell y'all to make sure to go listen to the God's Honest Truth podcast. Okay, the new episode went up today called Nuffin Season. If you missed the episode Friday with Shannon Boudram and Michael Eric Dyson, then you can listen to the podcast today on the Black Effect iHeartRadio Podcast Network, available everywhere you listen to podcasts, and you can go stream it on Paramount Plus until our new episode drops this Friday at 10 p.m. on Comedy Central, okay? Now, the positive note is this. Real growth is when you start checking and correcting yourself instead of blaming others. You take your power back by being responsible for your life.
Breakfast Club, bitches! Y'all finished or y'all done?